Hey, everybody, welcome to the program. You are listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7. I'm Kathy Holmes. I am proud to be your host and glad to be sharing today's episode with Mr. Bill Robinson, probably one of the most famous participants of our community. The guy, he's everywhere, but most well known for being our school district trustee for the last 8 years. Hi, Bill, honey, how are you?
I'm just splendiferous, I think would be the word I'd choose to describe myself today.
Well, that's a really fantabulous word.
Isn't it just?
Isn't it just?
I'll see you're fantabulous and
That's right.
raise you splendiferous. Yeah.
There you go. That works for me for sure. You know, there's been a lot of stuff happening with COVID-19 in our communities and a lot of parents with their kids at home. Can you glean anything as to what's happening with our school district here in Nanaimo?
Well, really, it's hard to say. We may be getting some more solid information by the end of this week. But it's looking like, as you probably know, our learning and care centers have been operating for, quite some time. Have you noticed through COVID the days and times are all messed up?
You know, I'm so confused with the days and the times. I have lost track of everything. And also, not being in the studio for me, you know, recording prior to the day that this is airing. Of course, our show airs every Monday at 1 o'clock. But we are actually in this Zoom conversation a few days prior to that. And so I'm lost as to where I am. Pretty much every day of the week runs in from one day to the next. Same for you?
I think it is a COVID thing for sure, very common. Anyway, we have had those centers for first responders and nurses, doctors, and all that. That has been working well. So kids have been in the school and volunteer teachers. And it's looking like the opportunity will be there for special needs kids in one way or another. And it's looking like when we get closer to June that kids from K to 5 will be coming on split shifts somehow. Anyway, it's hard to talk about it now. The virus is going to control decisions.
Yeah, it's a work in progress all the way because we're, of course, leaning on Dr. Bonnie Henry for the direction throughout the province.
Exactly.
When it comes to, you know, all of the decisions of opening up community.
And I'll tell you, just as we're talking about school, our teachers, what they have done, and now it's inconsistent, but what teachers have done just overnight, it seems, very, very quickly. I had the chance last Friday, I think it was, to work with Pam Ellis. Talk about amazing teachers. Kindergarten teachers I bow to.
Absolutely. My gosh, patience. Wow.
And then you throw in a K1, so that takes it up a notch. Now, in Pam Ellis's case, she takes a whole bunch of Anglophone kids and teaches them in French.
How fantastic.
And anyway, she does a program that I created 3 years ago now called The Best Me I Can Be. And it's an idea. First of all, I woke up just before Christmas 3 years ago, and that line was running in my head and wouldn't stop. So I wrote it down, knowing that I'd go down and make coffee, and then I'd try and remember what it was, and it would be gone. So I wrote it down, and after Christmas, I started thinking about it more, and I thought, you know, kids who come to school less than well prepared, and there's a good chunk of those, And if they're struggling a bit, they're less likely to get pats on the back. And if you're not getting pats on the back, your self-esteem, self-confidence go down the chute, not up.
Absolutely. For sure.
So I went into Tiffany in our communications department, who is just brilliant at doing so many things. She created a wonderful certificate, and the teachers can type in 3 or 4 examples of when the kids have been not necessarily that they're ever going to be the top of the math class, but last month they were counting to 20 and now they're counting to 30. So working hard at math. Stopped to help Johnny when he skinned his knee, and those sorts of things. And then we present 5 of those a month for 4 months. And the best $2 investment ever made in the history of mankind, those certificates come in a frame. So they don't come all crumpled in a backpack. They are in a frame, hung in bedrooms, and put on desks and so on. And
Well, I think we need to extend that program. And I really do because of COVID. You know, we do the shout out to the parents and, or sorry, to the teachers, but a lot of parents, Bill, have become teachers in their own right during
oh,
this period. And I really think that we need to do a best parent we can be in the moment.
well, one of the things we promoted heavily to teachers in starting this was we took the pressure off. Do your best and do your best. And that is the same with parents. I mean, you weren't trained to be a teacher. You weren't trained to be a teacher, many of you, while working at home. And even if you're not, there are other pressures, financial and so on, and you're teaching on top of it. It's been challenging for many, and
And many have also really risen to the occasion, right? They are
totally.
seeing their kids in an entirely different way. They're seeing the way that they are talking with their children and how they're able to respond to get them to do tasks differently than they've ever been able to do before. So in a way, I think, I mean, and it's also gone the other side, right? I mean, as you said, parents weren't necessarily taught how to be teachers. And even teachers, by the way, you know, I have been a teacher for many, many years, and I have to say that teaching my own child was one of the biggest challenges ever. Of course, he did try to hide all his homework in between the mattresses, figuring out on. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a different expectation that we have with our children. And so I'm just really proud of our community that, you know, these parents have come together and they've done such an extraordinary job of staying sane through what is, you know, otherwise quite a challenging time.
Yeah. Now, through your program, we could create the best parent you can be. And I know where you can get frames for $2 a piece. Could be a whole new thing.
I think
Whole
so
new
too.
thing.
A whole new thing. I love the way we can expand things. But you're a man of expansion. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that expansion because, yes, for 8 years, you're well known as our beloved school district trustee. But aside of that, you're also well known as a writer and had written for, you know, what was the name of that magazine? You and I were just talking about it a bit ago. The article that you used to write was called Hidden Heroes.
In the Nanaimo Daily News.
That's it, the Nanaimo Daily News, as well as Nanaimo Voyager magazine. And
Right.
from that, which you did for years and years, you developed an extraordinary book called Hidden Heroes. And the premise behind Hidden Heroes was everyday people doing extraordinary things, right? Let's talk about that. Let's remind
Yeah.
our community what Hidden Heroes is all about and what you're doing now.
Yeah. My line is small things can and often do make a big difference. So it's those little pats on the back, the smile at a time when someone needs the smile, that sort of thing. Um, Yeah, it was interesting. I did that kind of radio back in Toronto. And when I came here, after a couple of years, I really started to get antsy. I didn't have a podium I could get up on and say, "Hey, do you know about Mary and the things she's been doing?" Or uh, and Peter Godfrey, who is kind of a hard-nosed journalist type. Uh, I was kind of surprised when he offered me the Hidden Heroes column. And I thought, on radio at any one time, I was talking to 40, 50,000 people. And if I said something that triggered someone, they could pick up the phone and call me. But I thought, if I'm writing in a morning newspaper, uh, something I write could trigger someone, but they got a whole day ahead of them, and breakfast and getting kids ready. And by the time they have a moment, responding is one of the last things. So I thought, my gosh, I'm really going to have to work so hard to find just one story a week. And what I discovered after maybe 2 months, uh, it was not a problem at all. If your awareness level goes up, you notice hidden heroes around every corner.
Everywhere.
And yeah, and we tend, most of us, to notice it and think, oh, isn't that nice? And then go on with our life. But I was looking for stories, so my zoom lens just worked a little deeper. And then after another couple of months, I thought, isn't this something that kids should be experiencing in schools? And I started working on that a little bit, and a teacher by the name of Ray Schlitz was particularly helpful in my early development. Hey, Ritz, or Schlitz at Park Avenue. He teaches usually grade 5 or 6. An amazing teacher, and there are a whole bunch of other teachers who helped me along the way with that program. And I I just thoroughly enjoyed that experience. I have kept being drawn into schools ever since I landed on this island. And within the first year and a half or so, I was asked by VIU to help them develop a program to promote the fact that roughly over time, 25% of students go to college or university.
Hmm.
What about the other 75? Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, well,
And
other areas of education. But I'm going to interrupt you just for a second because you brought up a good point that I don't know about you, which I didn't know there was much I didn't know about you. But here's one thing: did you ever teach in a classroom? Were you ever, a high school or elementary school teacher, or did you ever want to become one?
I was a teacher in 1960. Yeah. And it was such a good year. 1961, I was actually an unqualified teacher. I taught at Sedberg School, which was a private school run on the British system of 6 forms. And I taught mainly high school. And it was a good experience, but I realized I wasn't cut out to be a teacher. And
I don't know about that. I think you're a pretty darn fine teacher. We're just so for people who are tuning in right now, I'd like to let everyone know that you are listening to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7. And our quasi Zoomy studio is Bill Robinson, School District Trustee, well-known personality in Nanaimo. And I'm Kathy Holmes, and so glad to bring this program to you. So, Bill, I mean, one of my favorite things about you has always been, in my mind, you're a hero in your own right, right? Hidden hero is it's you know, is sort of a manifestation of the goodness that you find in all of the people, everyone that you meet. You find the best in them and you help them to just be better people. What
And
inspires you?
I just have to say, I thank my parents for that.
Thank
Uh,
you, mom and dad.
Two extraordinary human beings
They,
who,
they
uh,
the first inaugural, even though they're not with us any longer, they get the very first best parents they can be award.
yeah, there you go.
Just saying.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. No, my folks were very special and taught me to, uh, always. I'm getting very emotional. I'm not sure why. Anyway, let's move on. That's where I learned to uh, always take the smaller half when you're dividing something up.
I just want you to know they call me the Barbara Walters of
Whoops.
CHLY, and that I often, some of my guests often cry, and so I'm shocked I got you into crying, but I quietly, Barbara Walters is out, and I'm nowhere near Barbara Walters. Don't misunderstand me, but she's famous as well for making some of her guests cry. So there you go. It's okay.
Okay.
It's a safe place to fall to cry on Act 3. Just saying.
Very good. Okay, I'm not crying anymore though.
Of course. So, but you know what? When our parents are gone, as you know, mine have passed away as well. There's something, about our parents that they give us the foundations of, and the fabric of who we become and all those people that we meet in between. Over the years, Bill, you have met thousands of people, and hundreds of them you've written about in Hidden Heroes for those small acts of fabulousness, right? Where are these people now? What's going on with Hidden Heroes, and where are you taking us to the next level for our sharing of the glory of these people?
Yeah, well, COVID-19 has given a lot of us unexpected free time. So I have a lot more free time than usual. And for 3, 4, 5 years, I've thought, wouldn't it be interesting to do a Where Are They Now? And I started writing November the 3rd, 2000, and wrote into early 2011, more than 500 columns. So,
Incredible.
and I have just a little less than 200 that I put in the Hidden Heroes book we published in 2011. A lot has gone on in people's lives. I know a fair amount has gone on in my own. And so I've been working, I think I have about 35 people I've found. And I need to find at least 100 of the 180 or so that I included in the book. So I'm doing that. And
Have you found a lot of changes in the people, the 35 people you found?
yeah, significant. One young runaway woman, girl, she was 15 or 16, not getting along obviously at home, and for the next 3, 4 years, 5 years, bumped up against the law and hung around with some pretty shady people. And she had an aunt who kept finding her and phoning her and sending her inspirational material, and eventually it took hold. And she decided to leave those negative influences behind and move to a town where she knew no one.
Wow. Wow.
And that town was Nanaimo. And after she was here for a while, she met someone, and they moved into a basement apartment in the house next door to me. So
Bye.
some of your hidden heroes just drop into your lap. You don't have to work hard to find them. Um, and
That's
she nominated her aunt, and I wrote a column about her aunt. And the aunt responded, and I did a column about both of them, really. And then her mom died. She had come back here, finished high school at VIU, and was in a marketing program when her mom passed away, and she moved to Victoria, and I lost touch with her. She is now about to turn 40. She has her university degree some time ago, married with a gorgeous 5-year-old daughter. And she is the marketing manager for CGI Canada, Canada's largest IT company, involved in 40 different countries around the world, and doing amazing things just out in the community. And
oh,
so
incredible.
so that's one end. Another end, someone I won't talk about in detail, but uh, dropped out of high school and banged around and ended up getting 2 master's degrees and a law degree. Uh, and then
Too late. It's never too late. Never too late. Never too late.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So they're not all that dramatic. I wish they were, but uh,
I think that's pretty
there's
dramatic to get a couple of master's degrees when you were kind of, ditching school and, and your work
yeah.
has changed in that way, right? And I think that, who we start off with is not who we, eventually become. It is a journey. It's a work in progress.
One of the stories that I've done that really strikes me as being kind of that calm, quiet, middle of the road, isn't it wonderful kind of result. This gal, divorced, struggling, back to school, completed high school again, uh, did really well studying to get her undergrad degree, hired by her prof. She was so good. And that's the last I heard of her. Reconnected a couple of weeks ago now, and she said, my story is nothing has happened. I've led a quiet life. She said, I worked for 2 or 3 years, met my current partner. We traveled for 3 years, and now we're back here enjoying our friends and our grandchildren. And I thought, that's a pretty darn good life. you
I
know?
should say, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so that's not a dramatic story, but it's nice to read about them, and then 15, 20 years later, just where are they now? What's going on? And it doesn't have to be uh, big drama. And so,
And hopefully it's not big drama in many cases. We want, people to have incredibly thoughtful and peaceful lives, right? Drama is not always a good thing. It can always be a bad thing, but it's not always a good thing, that's for sure.
yeah.
Is there someone of those 500 people, Bill, that you would just like really, really like to find that you haven't been able to find yet?
Oh, that's about 499 of them.
Understood. But
Uh,
there must be a couple of people that just sort of radiate for you that is like, my goodness, I wonder really, or even any of the impactful stories that you had written about in your original book in 2011.
oh, wow. I'm drawing a blank on that. There's so many wonderful stories.
No kidding.
Yeah, nothing is, you've left me with a big, uh,
And you know what? That's okay because I'd like people to remember that book if they haven't, been able to, or if they have had it back then to pull it back out. I have my copy signed and sealed by you, which I adore. Is the copy still available? I don't think you've been in print for a while, so
no, no. And it's interesting. Uh, I wrote that book before I was aware of Grammarly or anything like that. And I'll swear, after it was printed, and I had four different friends who are pretty good with the English language, go through the book,
Yeah.
editing before printing. I'll swear, every time I opened that book, I found I found another grammatical error or punctuation or whatever. Um, so I am now going through with Grammarly and cleaning it up, tightening it up, and then doing the follow-up stories. So it's been interesting. It's been fun, a lot of fun.
What part has been the most fun for you in the process? Trying to figure out how to use Grammarly, connecting with the people, seeing where you can take this next level of your creation further. What's been the part that's really hit you the most, or is it a blessing of all three?
Well, finding the young lady who's now 40 years old was that was a major highlight. Everyone, finding all those 30 odd that I have found. Uh, and I would say all but one was interesting and touching for me. um, if I'm able to get, I'd like 120 or 30 of those people. I think it's a book that people would enjoy reading. So anyway, no sense promoting something that I'm at least a year away from finishing.
No, but what we can promote is the premise behind it, which is that small acts of kindness can do amazing things. When you look at your life, Bill, and the people that you've known over the years, there have been, I'm sure, any numerous of these small magical things that have happened, which inspired you to write Hidden Heroes and the book, and now to carry it on forward. But in the last few years, there's been a lot of, there's been good and bad that's happened in our community. Have you seen some things in this last little while that have kind of given you any aha moments of those gentle pieces of kindness?
You're throwing curves at me today.
I'm sorry.
uh,
I don't mean to. I never throw people under the bus. We it's like you and I are having a coffee. So if
yeah, no, I'm,
that's why I'm like, have we? Because there has been some pretty neat stuff that's happened, especially when I think about COVID-19 and the kindness that people are showing to each other, even though there's a lot of fear that's going on right now, right? Specifically, there's a lot of people with the masks, right? There's some people are saying that they're not feeling that they're able to see the smiles in people's eyes, or they're having, that there's a lot of fear with COVID. And so people are just kind of going into the lineups in the grocery store, and, they're getting their stuff done, and they're getting on and they're getting out. And yet I've seen absolutely the opposite. I've seen people show kindness beyond measure. Just in paying attention and listening and being positive during, a very challenging time is community as a whole.
yeah, I've certainly times that I've gone out. Um, it was I self-isolated just as all of this started because I had a bit of a cold, and I thought I'll go for 2 weeks, which I did. And then I had to drive up to the school district office, and I didn't see one car or one person on the
Really.
street. It was quite amazing, and little by little by little, now it's getting fairly busy out there. But what I'm noticing is people that I was going to say bumping into, and I'm talking about social distancing. Uh, people are are making sure that they're 6 or more feet away from others, and that
Yeah, I'm noticing as well, people are really, really, for the most part, people are really, you know, keeping that social distancing when they are in physical parameters of each other. I find it's really hard for me not to hug people. You know this because you know I'm a hugger, right?
Yeah.
I find it really hard to not hug the people that I see. How about you?
I had a really interesting experience. I'm on the Reconciliation Committee, which very quickly became known as the Sayetsis family. Sayetsis means walking together. And we start all our meetings with Lawrence Mitchell drumming and singing. We have 2 minutes of silence and then start on to the meeting. And we decided, as a way to thank the people working at Barsby who are now taking out uh, last week or the week before 198 breakfast and lunches for families. That's 198 families, and delivering this food to their doors. The volunteer teachers, EAs, parents, it's amazing the lineup of cars that come up as all the food is ready to go out. Anyway, Lawrence and his son and Charlene, our board chair, and we all turned up. Lawrence did some drumming and singing as a way of thanking these people.
Fab.
And one of the EAs came up and came rushing up to Ted, who's our in charge of our Indigenous Education Department. And she came running up. She was like a foot away from him with her arms wide open. If you'd seen the look on Ted's face, like somehow she hadn't seen Ted in a while. She just totally forgot about 6 feet. And Ted hadn't. Anyway, she stopped in time. But
Dead in the tracks, like,
yeah,
oh, stop. Yeah.
yeah, I'm missing that, I'll tell you.
Oh, I know. I know. Tell us more about 190 meals. Are these going to families of the school kids that attend? Or
Yeah, yeah,
isn't that incredible?
yeah. Well, and this is our school foundation involved as well. And they are planning on continuing that through the summer. They run it's called a summer munch lunch or something.
That's a
Uh,
cool concept, a munch and lunch. Munch and lunch.
uh, and I know our Rotary Club supports them with $5,000 every year, and they go around to playgrounds and hand out lunches. So they're hoping to expand it, and Loaves and Fishes have been great
Phenomenal.
supporting us, and several of the grocery stores too, um, who are donating all kinds of food. And anyway, we're hoping, I have the pleasure of sitting on that board representing the school board on the foundation board. And we're hoping to get that going all summer with food for the whole family.
I'm so excited about that concept. Well, and also a little bit earlier in the conversation today, you were talking about the potentiality of kids going back to school in June. Maybe, maybe not, cycles, maybe, maybe not. We don't know. What's that going to look like to summertime for these kids that have been like looking, even though they've been away now and they haven't been able to engage with their friends and all of that, which they would do during summertime activities? Is the school district thinking about, putting part-time classes back on through the duration of the summer or back again in the fall?
Uh, I am pretty sure back again in the fall
Yeah.
is what I would expect. And it makes sense to me that we, if you will, taste test in June. So how's it going to work with kids in? Because in our the classes, learning and care centers for the first responders and all, there are only 10 kids in a class
Yeah, much smaller.
to
Much smaller.
maintain. And our staff, senior management, principals, vice principals, teachers, all are going to have to come up with some amazingly creative, out of the box thinking as we launch into next year as well. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting, and
Bill, you're wearing such an important hat right now on so many levels. It's, you know, just so many levels. This is a new style of learning. It's a new way for us to communicate. We were talking a minute ago about the Rotary participating in that. I just out of curiosity and off topic somewhat, because but I know how much involvement you've had with the 710 Club over the years. How is that? Is that still operating now during COVID, or have they augmented in some way as well, or is it just, you know, on hold at this time?
for the last 5 years or so, we've been with, we do our breakfasts out of Sally Ann, actually. And they, as you may know, have a truck outside and they're handing out. And 710 is doing the same thing, bag lunches and breakfasts. Um, I'm looking forward to getting back. Man, I miss.
Well, it's the people too, right? All of the people that we interact with and the various different things that we do in community. It seems, you know, Zoom is a wonderful thing. I'm certainly enjoying producing Act 3 via Zoom. It's working for now, but it's not the same as being one-on-one and seeing the people that we care about. Not the same at all.
Yeah, and our board meetings are working.
Hmm.
I was surprised at how well, but the last education meeting, 3 of us were in the boardroom with our laptops, and we the rest were on Zoom. uh, it was great to be seeing at least 2 others
No.
and, you know, face to face. And I'm hoping there will be a few more next time. We've invited, as I think you know, invited teachers to use their classrooms. The schools were kind of shut down other than our learning care centers. Um, but we are now inviting teachers in and inviting ourselves to come in and use the boardroom. So I'll be there tomorrow.
Well, there you go. It'll be interesting to walk through the halls of school once again.
Yeah, oh, I missed that.
I bet.
I
I
missed
bet.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and I think our kids have really missed it too. And I know that many of the students that, you know, that I've even worked with over the years, they're telling me that they're missing their teachers that they're working with at NDSS, at Dover, at, you know, all of the schools. And so that, you know, bringing people back together again is really what we want to do, but we want to do it safely, and we want to make sure that we're following the rules of Dr. Henry and the province moving forward. Have they given, have you, through all of this Zoom stuff, all of the meetings that you've had, all of that, have you seen a new insight to the way that we are teaching our students now?
uh, give that to me again. Have I seen insight into
A new way of
a
teaching?
new way of teaching?
Hmm.
Um, I use the term out of the box. Our teachers have been trying all kinds of things, and I'm not aware of what they're doing because I'm not talking to them
Of
on
course.
a regular basis. And I'm
It's time for writing another book, a different book, an out of the box teacher's book in how to think out of the box. I mean, teachers already can think out of the box, but some of the stories that will have been inspired that we're going to hear about as we move through these months coming together, and kids, when you're back in walking the schools with your other fellow trustees, it'll be interesting to hear some of the stories that these teachers have done.
Yeah, and you're talking about after I've 2.5 years on the board, and my next project, I believe, um, every time I sit on a park bench and I see it's dedicated to John and Mary,
Yes.
I wonder who these people really were and what did they do, what was important to them, hidden heroes sort of thing.
Hmm.
And so I'm thinking of coming up with QR codes or something like that. There's something more modern now, I believe, so that you can take your phone, scan that QR code, and get a 500 or 600 word story and 2 or 3 or 4 photographs of who these people were. And uh,
What a wonderful project. You could partner with the city for something like that, I bet as well. I don't know if the city does the benches, but what a
yeah,
great idea. Brilliant.
well, one of the things they do is in trees. And people memorialize others with trees. So I've talked to them about that, of something connected to that tree that you could scan. And
I love that idea. I love it.
so,
Bill, we're just about at the end of our program. I hate when we're at the end of our program because there's always so much more that we want to share. But what I do want to find out is what your takeaway is for all of this. If you could offer a piece of wisdom or a life lesson, what would you say to our listeners about hidden heroes, about the kids, about whatever it is that you feel? What's your nugget of goodness that we would want to imbibe upon the listeners of the show today?
never miss an opportunity to say, I love you.
I love you, Bill.
I love you too. I've loved you a long time.
And I've loved you back a long time as well. Listen, you've been listening to Act 3 on the CHLY 101.7. Our guest has been Bill Robinson, school district trustee. We've had a blessing of 8 years, I think, now that he's been trustee. Bill, do you get to reelect one more time, or is this it at the end now?
No, there's a major thing happening to me tomorrow.
Oh, what's that?
And one of those 0 birthdays.
Oh my gosh, it is your birthday tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Happy birthday to you. I don't do the Marilyn Monroe
Yeah.
president, but happy birthday, of course.
But I
Great year.
just bring that up that I'm reaching a point where, first of all, 3 terms I think is enough for anyone to get some new blood in. And, I'm a long way past, as much as I love kids and always will. I think it's time for someone younger to come in. I'll be 82 and a half uh, when I wrap that one up. That's time to retire or find another job.
And I've known you since you were just in your late 60s, early 70s. So I haven't even known you that long. If
Yeah.
you're, I don't want to say what your birthday is, so I'm not gonna, unless you wanna. Can we tell people how young you are? Because you're such a young punk.
Yeah, I'm 80 years old tomorrow. I get to use the Aqua Center free of charge as of, as of tomorrow, if they'd open the darn thing.
There's some bonuses. I love that. There's absolute bonuses. Free swimming. They should be free everything else too. Yeah. Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday indeed. Um, I don't at all. I think you're a young punk, and I think that really, the truth be told, that kids are always so blessed to be in your presence, as the rest of us are indeed.
Well, I'm planning since I was 12, 13. I always thought I was going to live to 104. And I see no reason to change my mind now that I'm older and wiser. I'm feeling pretty darn good.
You're looking pretty darn good too. For those who can't see, you're silver fox, baby. Silver.
Yeah, well, we'll let that one go.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you, and I'm really really glad that we were able to share today with our community. You know, I think that the school district is blessed to have you. I think Hidden Heroes. I'm really looking forward to reading your book. I know all of our listeners will be as well. When it comes down, I know it's a work in progress, but when it comes, and in the meantime, if you happen to be a hidden hero, and you happen to know the book we're talking about and be in it, you need to be able to get a hold of Bill Robinson. Is there a way that people can reach you, Bill?
Yeah, just go to the school board website and my number is up there.
Perfect. So School District 68, and you can find Mr. Bill Robson. Thanks for being on the show today, Bill. I will see you soon. Happy birthday. I'll talk to you again. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Act 3 on 101 CHLY FM, 101.7 FM. I really am so grateful that you all tune in, and we look forward to bringing you another show next week. We'll see you at 1 o'clock on Monday. Bye for now.